Buongiorno, welcome back everybody, Cooking with Francesco. I'm glad today to show you a nice dish that is dear to me. That was actually one of my main dishes in my home when I was growing up, spaghetti carbonara. Very Italian, very famous dish, and that call for obviously spaghetti. Then we have eggs, Parmesan cheese, parsley, prosciutto and back fat of pork seasoned that is called pancetta, and oil to cook, obviously to render a little bit the fat. Now, this is a variation, and carbonara you can do many variations. Something though that people have to be aware of is that a lot of people put cream in this dish, and actually it doesn't really call for cream at all. Typically this dish is just eggs, pancetta and spaghetti and parmesan just to give the flavor, parsley to give color and maybe add a little flavor, but make sure that you use Italian parsley because the curly parsley would be just color. Italian parsley actually add flavor. So let's start this recipe. As we have, I would like to start with the pancetta because we need some time to render it obviously, and this one is good only when it's crispy. And that's why it's very important to cut it in very small pieces like this in order that it will be become crisp, and the crispiness comes by putting it with oil. And not only that, and cooking it slowly. It's like, you know, American bacon. I mean, people like it crispy, and therefore it's very important that you properly cook it, not too fast because otherwise it's going to burn. And as I said, to add flavor today for this particular preparation, we're going to add prosciutto. I do remember when I was growing up, my father sometimes did the variation with sausages. Here you will call it Italian sausage, but truly Italian sausage doesn't have the strong flavor in Italy that it has over here with fennel or seeds and stuff like that. So because of that, I don't want to use it. I just rather stay with the prosciutto and the pancetta. So because of that, now we're getting there and we're starting the. We put in on the fire a little oil. It's going to help to render the fat. Then we're going to add this one. We need to make sure that it's little hot. If it's not hot, it won't serve the purpose. And we said in the past with extra virgin olive oil, you don't want to go to such high temperatures. But in this case, we use vegetable oil because obviously to render the fat, even though we're going to do slow, but we're going to start high temperature. So like that, it's going to seal all the juices and it's going to release the fat. And the fat eventually is going to be part also of toasting the pasta in it. So because of that, we want to make sure that also the pancetta, there is not much oil because we want to utilize more than everything the oil of the pancetta. So while we're rendering this pancetta, I think it's going to take enough time for us to cook the pasta. And those are very easy and simple dishes, very fast. Then in every household you can do, and that's why I think in Italy we use a lot of pasta too because it's a quick, easy, but remember always make sure that it's al dente because if it's overcooked, then it really could be health hazard in a certain way because it breaks down the starches and it digests in a different way. So because of that, I want to make sure that here I want to follow it a little bit at the beginning so I can see how it proceeds before I add the prosciutto, because the prosciutto doesn't really have much fat left, and mostly to add the flavor because it's a pure cold cut in Italy. So you can use trims of prosciutto that you have from cold cuts, you can use sausages to add to it, you can use everything that might add flavor like fat. I mean, that's also all variations that you can do. You can put onions if you wish, because that is going to help actually to enhance a little bit the variation. But this one I can see already in this high temperature that is starting to sizzle very well. So while we cook in the fat, I would like to put the pasta in there, and we're going to put it inside beautifully. You want to try? Beautifully inside like this, and this is a And then obviously you want to try to squish it down as much as possible in order to get in contact with the water. And so it cook all evenly. It doesn't have some strings that are maybe a little harder. In the meantime, we want to put down obviously the flame on the fat, because like that we're going to make sure that it doesn't overcook, doesn't burn. And at this point, because this one is already crisping up and everything, I think we can add also the prosciutto. At this point, this one is going to cook all together. And while the pasta is cooking, this one is cooking and everything, we eventually going to have to go to the next step, which is now taking care of the eggs. Because as maybe you understood, very important part in this dish are the eggs that we need to put in here. We want to season it a little bit, a little salt, a little pepper. A little bit more salt. And now we want to beat them a little bit. The secret of this dish is to make sure that we don't overcook the eggs, because eventually the pasta needs to be hot when it goes in there. So it's very important that we don't overcook it, and we beat them well, possibly incorporate more air as possible inside in order that eventually won't overcook or scramble them when we put the pasta. Let's check it out also, the bacon in the meantime, how it's doing, the pancetta. Sorry, bacon is smoked. This is not smoked at all. It's actually just skewered in salt.